Now, if you're having a hard time deciding between these two size Apple Watches, don't worry, I have you covered. So new for this year for the Series 7 Apple Watch is obviously the more curvier display. And because of that, we have a larger screen size option, both the 41 and the 45. And after owning both of them and having them on day to day, swapping them between the two, this is my conclusion. Now, my wrists, I don't know, average male size wrists. I'm slightly leaner than their typical male, to be honest. Not to brag or anything, but I am a competitor. But the 41 actually is very interesting because when you compare the two side by side, yes, the 45 is visually larger, but in terms of usability, I was actually really okay with the 41 because when you compare it against the older generation Apple Watch body styles, like the Series 6 is a fine example, between the 45, there's a lot more text that could fit in. And because of that, even the 41 also has the full row keyboard. So you can actually like text with an actual keyboard instead of just relying on dictation. And it does support swivel as well. Both the 45 and the 41 both have the full row keyboard, which is really interesting. Well, not full row, but a full keyboard display that gives you access to this. And it uses AI learning to like correct some of the mistakes. So whenever you're typing stuff, it actually is really accurate to what I'm trying to say. And if there's a mistake, you can always just use the digital crown to go back and move the cursor here and correct your mistake, or tap on the word in general, and Siri will use other suggestions that you can swap them out with in case they got something wrong. So the color choice that we have here is the new Midnight for my 45, and we have the new shade of blue for the smaller 41. And in case you weren't aware, the aluminum body has a total of 5 color choices to choose from. There's also a new shade of red as well. And then if you like something interesting, there also is this new green. And then in terms of prices between the two different displays, it's this. It's $399 for the smaller 41, and it's $429 for the larger 45. And can go up even more depending if you want titanium or stainless steel. Now the Apple Watches that I have here, this is the 41 millimeters, just your standard aluminum body in that new shade of blue as I previously mentioned. And this one, my 45, is the Nike edition, which is also available for the smaller 41. The differences between the standard aluminum and the Nike version is if you're going with a gray color or a new starlight color, for the same price, you get the Nike version. And the only difference between the Nike version and the standard aluminum is you have a Nike logo back here, and you also have access to exclusive Nike watch faces. So if you like to really personalize your device and have more options to customize it for the same cost, Nike will, with the Nike Apple Watch, you will have more choices to choose from in terms of watch faces. So you get some software exclusives. Now the watch bands are different between the standard aluminum and the Nike version. Nike will you'll have access to this loop one, which has the Nike logo. Or you can substitute this with this band right here that has a bunch of holes for better circulation. Primarily focused on athletic users, but you can always swap it like how I have with this leather band if you wish. So in actuality, it's just a $30 difference if you want to go with the larger 45, or save yourself $30 and go with the 41. And if you're concerned about watch bands, if you're coming from an older Apple Watch, if you have the larger version band for that Apple Watch, like for example the 44, the band is compatible on the 45. Same can be said with the smaller Apple Watch. That band is also compatible with the smaller 41. Now, in case you are debating if you should upgrade to the newer, curvier displays, here's a side-by-side comparison against the previous generation body designs that the Apple Watch used to have, so you can really get a general idea how much curvier this new display is compared to the previous Series 6. And yeah, definitely does look much pleasant. Now there is this edge technology, or this edge infinity display illusion, where yes, sometimes it does transfer the images from the display to the corner so you can actually visualize it from the angles. This looks really nice, but from the first person point of view, it's kind of hard to notice. But from somebody else's point of view, it definitely does look pretty cool. Now, in terms of exclusive watch faces, all the new watch faces are available on both Apple Watches, so there's no exclusivity between one or the other. You have the new contour watch face available on both of them, the new modular duo, and since this is the Nike version, this one has the Nike Bounce, which is also available for the Series 6 Nike editions. All the other watch faces you see here are also available on the Series 6, Series 5, and Series 4, as long as they're on watchOS 8. So, in terms of hardware exclusivity, there is none between these two. Minus, other than the larger display, that really is it. Both of them will be able to take advantage of that new fast charging both ship with the USB-C Pocky Puck charger dock thingy, I don't know the name, that allows the Apple Watch to charge faster. Both have the always on display hardware, and both deliver the same battery life percentage, as well as be able to track your activity, heart rate, ECG, all that good stuff is all available and jam-packed in this small body design. And honestly, it's all really just a personal preference. Both of these Apple Watches side by side, if we pull up this Wikipedia page, you can see every text, it's visible and so easy to scroll with the digital crown. There's no real advantage between the two. It honestly is just all appearance. And from somebody with normal size wrist, I will say, I would be perfectly fine with the 41mm, and I'm able to see all the important information that there is to know. So if I was on a tight budget, this will be my primary choice. But since I am a content creator here on YouTube that always tries to get my hands on the latest product, I'm gonna go ahead and go with the larger one because I think it just looks better with a leather band. But if I was doing sport activities, I just was primarily using this device to stay connected with family, friends, track my health, track my steps, and all my other workouts. This honestly is the perfect size, and it'll get the job done. And from a far distance, it looks like it's the larger Apple Watch. And if we take like a Series 3, an older body design model, this is actually a 42mm, so there's only 1mm size difference between the two, and you could definitely tell the curvier displays allows this to fit much more text compared to the previous generation. So if you're upgrading from a Series 3 or older Apple Watch body design, you can't go wrong with the 41. It's a nice upgrade and a massive leap if you're going from the smaller 38mm. So really, at the end of the day, it all depends on your personal preference. If you have a much smaller wrist, obviously it'll make more sense for you to get the smaller display option. I'm not telling you you should. You're free to go ahead and make that decision on your own. Just keep in mind, an advantage of having a smaller display means you're less prone to actually make contact in case you bump your wrist against a wall or something like that. So really, it all just comes down to personal preference. If you really don't care, the smaller 41mm is perfectly fine. But obviously, if you have a smaller wrist, it will make more sense to have the smaller display, because if you have a larger display on a very small wrist, the screen it just becomes bulkier to the point where you have to be always cautious where your wrist goes in case you bump into a wall or something like that. It will scratch the body and possibly crack the display. I know Apple still claims this to be Apple's most durable Apple Watch, but they could be right, but at the end of the day, it still is glass. Just like the Cybertruck, it's still gonna be prone to crack or scratch if you're not too careful. So all in all, there you go. That is the comparison between the 41 and the 45mm Apple Watch. If you got some good, useful information out of this video, I'll greatly appreciate it if you guys would leave this video a like. It still has helped me out a lot. And get subscribed, especially if you enjoy a lot of tech videos just like this. And links to everything, of course, will be all linked in the video description down below. So if you're planning on purchasing one, greatly appreciate it if you actually use that affiliate link, as I'll send a small kickback to the channel, which allows me to continue producing these type of informative video for you guys. If you'd like to see more, wondering what type of accessories I use on my devices, check out this video over here. So I go through my favorite must-have accessories for your Apple Watch. This includes bumpers, ways to charge your device when you're traveling, and much more. And then that video next to that one, that's my review of my Nike version Apple Watch. If you want to know more reasons why that's my daily driver compared to the standard aluminum. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. See ya.